They thought it would be the perfect joke. Set Maya up on a date with a man who looked broke, awkward, and barely holding himself together. A humiliating prank to remind her of her place. What Maya didn't know was that the man sitting across from her wasn't broke at all. He was a billionaire hiding his identity, watching, waiting, trying to answer one painful question. Can anyone love me without my money? To everyone else, he was a joke. To Maya, he was a stranger who deserved kindness. But that moment, that prank, would ignite a chain of events no one saw coming. Because when the truth finally surfaces, it won't just expose who he really is. It will shatter everything that Maya thinks she knows about trust, love, and herself. But before any of that happens, Maya is fighting battles no one sees. Battles that are already pushing her to the edge. Maya Holloway sprinted across the cracked pavement, her breath sharp in the cold morning air, one hand clutching her bag, the other trying to keep the cup of medicine from spilling. Her phone buzzed relentlessly in her pocket. She didn't need to check it. She already knew it was another overdue rent reminder. She bounded up the stairs to her apartment building, fumbling with the keys as her mother's voice echoed from inside, soft, confused, and trembling. "Maya, where did everyone go?" Lillian asked, wandering near the doorway, her eyes unfocused. Maya exhaled, placing the medicine bottle gently on the table. "I'm right here, Mom. It's okay." She guided her mother back to the couch, kneeling in front of her, forcing a smile. "We have our routine, remember? Breakfast, then your morning meds." Her voice softened. "You're safe." Lillian blinked slowly, her fingers brushing Maya's cheek, as if trying to recognize her own daughter. "You're such a nice girl," she murmured. "Someone will love you one day, you know." It stabbed deeper than Maya ever let herself admit. Love. Worth. She didn't have time for either. She swallowed hard, poured the medicine into a spoon, and wiped her mother's mouth afterwards like someone twice her age. She glanced at the clock. She was late. Again. Her reflection in the hallway mirror stared back at her. Dark circles, tired eyes, pressed blazer, fake confidence. She straightened her posture, lifted her chin, and whispered her daily self-made lie. "You are capable. You belong. You can do this." But her voice cracked at the end. She drew in a shaky breath, grabbed her bag, kissed her mother's forehead, and darted out. As she ran toward the bus stop, her thoughts raced. If I lose my job, how will I pay for Mom's care? How long until they evict us? Why can't life ease up just once? She shook her head violently. No time for that. Not now. The Crescent City skyline towered over her. Gleaming glass towers, shimmering advertisements, endless streams of people who all looked like they had their lives together. She hated how small she felt among them. But today, she reminded herself, she would not break. She couldn't. When she reached Skybound Marketing Agency, she forced her smile wider, breezed through the glass doors like she belonged in every room she entered, like confidence was stitched into her bones, like she wasn't drowning. But the moment she stepped inside, a shrill voice cut through the air. "Well, look who finally made it," Sabrina Cole drawled, leaning back against her desk, perfectly manicured nails tapping against a coffee mug that read, "Boss Energy." Her entourage snickered behind her like obedient shadows. Maya rolled her shoulders back. "Good morning, Sabrina," she replied evenly, even though her stomach nodded. "Rough night taking care of imaginary boyfriends?" Sabrina asked. "Oh, wait, don't tell me you're still single." Laughter rippled through the office. Maya smiled the way someone smiles on the edge of a fall. Better single than surrounded by people who peek at lunchroom gossip. The laughter stopped, briefly. Sabrina's eyes glittered. She leaned in, whispering, "Confidence doesn't suit you, Holloway. Try harder." Maya walked past her, heart pounding, each step reminding her that survival was a skill. The minute she reached her desk, She collapsed onto her chair, inhaling deeply. She opened her laptop, pretending to focus, but whispers traveled like wildfire. Did you hear about the layoffs? They're reviewing the budget again. My cousin said the department's getting trimmed. Maya's palms went clammy. She bit her lip hard enough to taste metallic fear. Her job wasn't just a job. It was her lifeline. She buried herself in pending reports, trying to ignore the dread. But she couldn't ignore it when Sabrina suddenly plopped into the seat across from her. So, we're doing something fun this weekend, Sabrina announced, her voice dripping with faux excitement. We found you a guy. Maya blinked. A guy? A blind date, Sabrina purred. You deserve someone. And he's perfect for you. Her click giggled. Something cold slithered down Maya's spine. She hated how they spoke to her like a charity case, a social experiment. I appreciate it, Maya said carefully. But I'm not. Oh, don't be shy, Sabrina interrupted, placing a printed invitation on her keyboard. He's waiting at the Copper Spoon restaurant. Saturday, 7 p.m. Don't bail. This might be your only chance not to die alone. The paperwork trembled slightly in Maya's hand. She looked up at their expectant faces. Something inside her wanted to say no, but something deeper, a loneliness she never admitted, whispered, what if, for once, someone stays? She forced a nod. Okay. Their smiles widened, not warm, not friendly, predatory. Later that day, when Maya went to refill her coffee, she overheard them laughing near the break room. She thinks he's real. She has no idea he's going to show up looking like a hobo. We're recording the whole thing. I bet she still tries to impress him. She's so desperate. This will be legendary. Maya froze. Her heart plunged straight to her stomach. She pressed her back against the wall, breath stuttering. A prank. She closed her eyes, humiliation already burning, even before it happened. She had two choices, run or face it. She chose the latter, not because she was brave, but because she refused to let Sabrina define her story. She squared her shoulders and walked away. Across the city, Lucas Arden gazed out from the penthouse of Arden Enterprises. The city stretched beneath him like a kingdom he never asked for. His assistant, Noah, dropped a stack of reports on his desk. You haven't left this building in days, Noah said. You should try breathing real air. Lucas didn't look away from the window. Real air comes with real people. And real people come with lies. Noah sighed. Not everyone is Jade, Lucas. The name snapped like a whip in the room. Lucas's jaw clenched, memories flashing. Jade, smiling sweetly, whispering love, hands on his chest, and then laughing with another man once she discovered his bank account. Lucas stood abruptly. Let's not pretend I'm wrong. You are lonely, Noah replied, unflinching, and loneliness turns truth into prison walls. Lucas stared at him. The world doesn't want the real me. They want Arden, the billionaire, the meal ticket, the crown. Noah folded his arms. Then test someone without the crown. Lucas scoffed. Test? Yes, Noah said. Meet someone as a regular man. See how they treat you. Lucas let out a humorless breath. No one is real anymore. Prove it. Later that week, Lucas ducked into the Copper Spoon for dinner. Cap pulled low, rugged jacket, worn jeans, anonymity draped comfortably over him. He sat at the bar, watching people laugh, toast, flirt, all things he once believed in. Then he heard laughter from a booth behind him. Wait till she sees him. He looks like he crawled out of a dumpster. She's going to be so embarrassed. Record every second. Lucas's muscles tightened. He leaned back, pretending not to care, until he heard the name. Maya Holloway. She's pathetic enough to fall for it. His eyes narrowed. The idea burned through him before he could extinguish it. Switch places with the man hired for the prank. See what she does. See if anyone is real. A test, yes, but one born not from cruelty, but curiosity wrapped in scars. He stood, approached the hired actor, whispered something, and effortlessly took the man's place. By the time Maya walked into the restaurant, Lucas already sat at the table, elbows awkwardly placed, hair deliberately messy, pretending not to notice the camera hidden in a potted plant. Maya paused at the entrance. Her heels faltered. She spotted him. He looked rough, quiet, almost shy. Her cheeks heated as whispers flickered around the room. That's her. Oh my God, look at him. She actually came. Humiliation pressed into her bones like ice. For a split second, Maya considered running, but then Lucas looked up, eyes solemn, almost apologetic. Something flickered there. Not mockery, not malice, just human. Maya inhaled. She stepped forward. Hi, I'm Maya. Lucas nodded. Luke. She sat. Silence hummed. She tried to smile. Rough day? He shrugged. Rough life. For a moment, no cameras, no prank, no insecurity existed. Just two broken people balancing on hope's thin edge. Lucas watched her. She didn't flinch at his appearance. She didn't sneer. She asked questions, not performatively, but genuinely interested. Do you like what you do? Sometimes, Lucas murmured. Mostly I'm just tired. Her expression softened. Yeah, I get that. A strange warmth curled in his chest. Unexpected. Unwelcome. He asked, Why did you come tonight? Maya looked down at her hands. Because loneliness whispers louder at night. Lucas swallowed. No witty reply surfaced. She was too real. Too raw. When the date ended, Maya stood. Thank you for, not making it worse. Lucas blinked. You expected worse? She gave a mirthless smile. People like me always do. And then she walked away. Lucas watched her leave, heart pounding with something he hadn't felt in years. Hope. He stayed seated long after she was gone. People in the restaurant laughed behind his back. He barely heard them. He had found someone real, and he had no idea it would cost them both everything. If you're still here, the best is just getting started. Don't forget to subscribe and drop a comment if you think Maya deserved better already, because it's about to get intense. Maya arrived at work Monday morning with a faint, cautious glow in her chest. The date hadn't been magical, but it hadn't been cruel either. Luke, strange, awkward, quiet Luke, had looked at her like she mattered, like she wasn't invisible. For someone who lived her life in the shadows of other people's confidence, that meant something. She clung to that feeling like a lifeline, but the moment she stepped out of the elevator, her world shattered. Laughter exploded from the conference area. Phones were out, screens tilted in her direction. Her name hissed through the air like venom. There she is. Oh my God, she actually came. I can't breathe. Look at her face. Maya froze. Her pulse hammered. A cold dread crawled across her skin. Sabrina leaned against the reception counter, eyes gleaming like a cat watching a mouse bleed. She held up her phone, screen paused on a video thumbnail. Maya entering the copper spoon. Her heart sank. No. Sabrina pressed play. There she was, walking in, hesitant smile, eyes full of fragile hope. And there was Lucas, intentionally dressed rough, awkwardly shifting. The video was edited with mocking captions. Desperate girl meets her future. She really thought this was love. Girl, please. The office erupted again. Maya's throat tightened so violently she couldn't breathe. The room blurred. She couldn't speak, couldn't defend herself, couldn't outrun her shame. Don't worry, Maya, Sabrina cooed sweetly. We did you a favor. Now you know your level. Maya managed to whisper, Why would you do this to me? Sabrina shrugged.
Because it's funny. And because you walk around like you deserve more than you do. Maya tried to swallow the lump in her throat, tried to hold herself together. But what broke her wasn't Sabrina's words. It was the moment she saw a co-worker look at her with pity. Pity was intolerable. It was confirmation of every insecurity she ever fought to bury. She turned around and stumbled toward the bathroom, hands trembling. Once inside, she gripped the sink so hard her knuckles turned white. Tears blurred her vision. Why can't I be enough? Why do I always give people weapons to use against me? Why did I think someone might actually see me? Her phone vibrated. Unknown number. She ignored it, breathing unevenly. Another vibration, and another. She checked the screen. A message. Maya, it's Luke. Can we talk? She stared at it, confused. Why? What did he want? Did he know about the video? Another text followed. I didn't know. I'm sorry. Her heart skipped. Something inside her cracked open again. Not fully, but enough to let oxygen back into her lungs. She wiped her tears, inhaled shakily, and typed one sentence. Meet me at Crescent Park after work. Lucas showed up dressed simply again, hood up, hands shoved in pockets, trying to appear ordinary. He found
her sitting on a bench overlooking the river, shoulders slumped, gaze distant. He approached carefully. Maya? She didn't look at him. They filmed us. They made me into entertainment. He sat beside her but kept space between them. I overheard them planning something. That's why I switched places with the guy they hired. I didn't want you humiliated like that. Her head snapped toward him. You replaced someone? Lucas hesitated. It wasn't supposed to go this far. I just wanted to see who you were. Her expression tensed. What does that even mean? Lucas opened his mouth, stopped, tried again. People treat me differently because of things I didn't choose. I wanted to see someone without those things attached. Her jaw clenched. So I was an experiment? No, he said quickly. No, he swallowed. I didn't expect you to be you. She blinked, suddenly unsure what to do with that sentence. He ran a hand through his hair. You didn't laugh at me. You didn't judge me. You talked to me like a person. Maya looked away. That's not special. It's just human decency. Lucas's voice lowered. You'd be surprised how rare that is. Silence stretched between them, thick and fragile. Then Maya whispered, Everyone at work thinks I'm a joke. They called me desperate. Lucas's brow tightened. They're idiots. Maya let out a weak, bitter laugh. You don't understand. I fight every single day just to look like I belong. Like I'm not one mistake away from falling apart. And they saw right through me. Lucas turned toward her fully. No, they saw what they wanted to see, not who you are. Her breath hitched. She hated how much she needed to hear that. He continued, voice softer. You were kind to someone you thought was beneath you. That says everything about you and nothing about them. Her chest tightened with unfamiliar warmth. She shook her head. Don't say things like that. Why not? Because I'll believe you, she whispered. Lucas's breath stalled. No one had ever admitted vulnerability like that to him, not without expecting something in return. He lowered his voice. Maybe believing someone isn't the worst thing. Maya looked down at her trembling hands. I don't know how to trust people anymore. Lucas gave a sad smile. Neither do I. That confession, raw, shared, unpolished, hung in the air like a fragile bridge between them. Maya exhaled slowly. So, what are we doing here, Luke? Lucas hesitated. Trying? Trying what? He didn't answer. He didn't have one. And somehow, that honesty made Maya feel less alone. For the first time in years, she didn't feel like she was falling. She felt like she had found her footing. The next days blurred into a quiet pattern, neither of them acknowledged out loud. They met after work, sometimes at the park, sometimes in a quiet cafe tucked between tall buildings where no one noticed them. They talked not about flashy dreams or perfect plans, but about exhaustion, responsibility, and the parts of themselves they never showed the world. One evening, as they walked along the waterfront, Maya confessed, "Sometimes I feel like my life is happening without me, like I'm performing a version of me that fits everyone else's expectations." Lucas slowed his steps. "So stop performing." She let out a humorless laugh. "If I drop the act, I lose everything. Maybe you only lose what isn't yours to hold." His words landed like a truth she had been running from her whole life. She glanced at him. "You say things like someone who's been hurt." Lucas looked straight ahead. "Everyone has." "Some more than others," she replied gently. He didn't argue. He didn't need to. That night, when they parted ways, Lucas almost reached for her hand before stopping himself. He wasn't ready, not because he didn't want her, but because wanting something so real terrified him. But the universe never lets anything beautiful grow without testing it, and their tests were only beginning. 2 days later, Maya received a letter at work. A notice. Her mother's care facility required an immediate payment, or they would release her into state custody. Her knees buckled. She sank into her chair, tears blurring her vision. She tried calling the financial office, but there was no answer. She tried calling the landlord, straight to voicemail. Her breathing spiraled. If she couldn't pay, her mother, her last connection to family, to memory, to purpose, would be displaced. That night, when she met Lucas, she didn't even pretend to be okay. She burst into tears. Lucas froze, panic flickering across his face. Emotions were traps. Vulnerability was fire. Nothing good ever came from caring. But he stepped forward anyway. "What happened?" She wiped her face messily. "They're going to throw my mom out. I'm behind on payments. I have no savings. My job is at risk. I can't breathe. I can't do this anymore." Her voice cracked on every word. Lucas felt something inside him fracture, an ache he had sealed off long ago. He reached out, hesitated, then rested his hand lightly over hers. "Maya, you're not alone." She laughed through tears. "Yes, I am. No one stays." He swallowed hard. His own past clawed at him. Jade laughing, Jade leaving, Jade choosing someone else. "No one stayed before," he corrected softly. "That doesn't mean no one ever will." She stared at him, really looked at him, and he knew she wasn't crying from weakness. She was crying from exhaustion. He didn't offer solutions. He didn't offer heroics. He simply stayed. And for someone like Maya, that was everything. But the world isn't kind to growing bonds, especially when they are built on secrets. Lucas's assistant, Noah, cornered him the next morning. "How long do you think you can hide this?" Noah demanded. Lucas frowned. "Hide what?" "The fact that you're Lucas Arden, billionaire, CEO, public figure. Cameras follow you like wolves. You can't pretend to be someone else forever." Lucas didn't answer. "She deserves to know," Noah pressed. "If she finds out another way, it'll destroy her." Lucas's voice tightened. "If I tell her now, she'll leave. Or she'll stay," Noah countered. "If she's real, she'll stay." Lucas's heart thudded painfully at that word. Real. The very thing he feared didn't exist. Noah sighed. "Lucas, secrets rot relationships from the inside. Decide who you are, with her and soon." The conversation left Lucas shaken, torn. He wasn't afraid of losing her. He was afraid of needing her, of believing she could be different. The universe didn't wait for him to decide. It forced his hand. On Friday, paparazzi swarmed outside Arden Enterprises. Someone had leaked that Lucas was seen walking along Crescent Park with a mystery woman. Photos, blurry but recognizable. Maya. Lucas saw the images online and felt his blood run cold. If she learned the truth this way, without context, without trust. He backed away from his desk, panic rising like floodwater. What had he done? What had he started? He left his office abruptly, ignoring calls, ignoring meetings, ignoring everything except one terrifying realization. He was no longer in control. Then, he did the worst thing he could have done. He disappeared. No calls, no messages, no explanations. Just silence. For Maya, who had spent her whole life being abandoned, that silence wasn't just absence. It was confirmation. I was right. No one stays. The next evening, she sat alone at the waterfront bench where they usually met. She waited and waited and waited. Hours passed. He never came. Her chest tightened until she couldn't breathe. She tilted her head back, blinking hard, refusing to let the tears win. Stupid, she whispered to herself. I should have known. People like me don't get chosen. She stood, shoulders slumped, and walked away, each step heavier than the last. She didn't know that Lucas watched her from a distance, paralyzed by fear, unsure how to bridge the canyon he created. He didn't know he was running out of time, because someone else from his past had already returned. And she came with a plan. If you're still watching, buckle up, 'cause things are about to explode. Drop a comment if you think Lucas just made the biggest mistake of his life. Maya hadn't stopped moving since Lucas vanished. Each evening, she returned to their bench, hoping he'd appear, hoping he'd explain, hoping the silence wasn't permanent. But the silence hardened around her like steel. Every shared laugh, every moment of connection now felt fragile, almost cruel in its absence. Later in the office, she overheard whispers when she went for a coffee refill. Did you see Lucas Arden's date with that woman? Yeah. She looks familiar. I think she's his ex. Do you think they are getting back together? The voices blurred as Maya returned to her office. She knew exactly what date they were referring to. She hadn't meant to read the gossip blogs as she wanted an explanation from Luke, but curiosity had gotten the better of her. The blog carried a picture of a woman with golden hair, the kind that shimmered under sunlight, and eyes that measured everything like a predator sizing up prey. And worse, she was staring at Lucas, in public. And she was smiling that practiced smile, the one that promised warmth but carried a knife. Jade. The same woman Lucas had mentioned only in fleeting warnings, the one responsible for his heartbreak, the one who had betrayed him once. Then, her phone buzzed, a message from an unknown number. Hi, Maya. You deserve to know the truth. Meet me at the Copper Spoon tonight. Her pulse spiked. Who is this? Luke? Is this another trick? A shiver ran down her spine as she typed a single reply. Fine, I'll come. That evening she arrived at the restaurant. Her hands trembled as she pushed the door open. She expected Lucas. She expected answers. Instead she saw Jade sitting alone, poised, composed, a smug tilt to her head. Maya froze. Her stomach churned. Jade's lips curved into a cold, knowing smile. Hello, Maya. I sent the message. I thought you'd like to know who you're really dealing with. Maya's voice was sharp, trembling. You? You sent this? Yes, Jade said smoothly. Maya took a step back. Why? She asked, glancing towards the empty chair across from Jade, the half-filled wine glass that was placed in front of the empty chair. It was obvious Jade wasn't here alone. Jade's lips curled upwards as she spoke. I thought you'd like to know the truth about Lucas, Maya. At that moment, Luke appeared from the back door. His jaw was set, tensed and dangerous as he walked towards them, his attention on his phone. There was no trace of his usual calm or charm, and he was dressed very differently. Maya noticed the expensive watch, the subtle designer cuff, the aura of someone untouchable and powerful. Her throat went dry as he came closer. She didn't want to believe, but seeing him running that. Then,
Lucas looked up. Finally, he noticed her, and his face fell. The moment their eyes met, everything shattered. "Maya," he started, voice careful, low. "What are—"
Stop! Maya's voice cracked. Her hands were trembling. Don't say another word. Just stop the testing. Stop pretending. I trusted you, Lucas. I poured myself out to you while you lied. You let me think I was enough. And I wasn't even supposed to know your truth. Lucas winced. Maya, You never what? Her voice rose. You never treated me like an equal. You tested me. You humiliated me. You manipulated me. For what? Some game? Some experiment? She turned away, pressing her hands to her face. The betrayal was sharp, stabbing like ice. Every memory, the walks, the late-night talks, the brief moments she thought were sincere, now twisted into mockery in her mind. Jade stood up and walked towards Maya. Leaning forward, she said, her voice smooth and venomous. Lucas has a world you could never imagine. It's very overwhelming. Not really for someone like you. Maya's stomach dropped, her heart, already fragile, shattered into splinters as she looked at Jade. You planned this together? Jade smirked without responding. Jade, Lucas stepped in. What did you do? Jade smiled sweetly at him as she shrugged her shoulders. Just telling her what she needed to know. Looking at Maya with wide eyes, Lucas stepped closer, but Maya recoiled. Don't touch me. Don't say a word. You made me feel safe. And it was all a lie. He swallowed hard. It wasn't a lie. I meant every moment with you. No! She snapped, voice shaking with rage and despair. You wanted to see if I'd fall for a regular guy. You wanted to see if I'd care about the person you pretended to be. That's not real. That's cruel. He fell silent. She stormed out of the restaurant, tears blinding her, rage and hurt mixing into a storm she couldn't control. Luke's jaw tightened. He wanted to call after her, to grab her, to explain everything. But he couldn't. Not here. Not now. Jade's manipulation was a weapon, and if he showed panic, it would wound them both further. You crossed the line, Lucas stated, picking up his things from the table. This supposed business meeting was nothing but a trap. Jade's smile widened, sharp and predatory. People will always use you, Lucas. Don't fall for her cries. At least I'm the only one who knows the true you. Luke's teeth clenched. His voice was low, controlled, and firm. She's nothing like you, and my assistant will handle any further business with you. Goodbye. Lucas watched as Jade's smug smirk faltered for the briefest second before turning around and leaving the restaurant. Outside, the city lights blurred as Maya walked alone. Her mind raced. I wasn't enough. Maybe I never am. People like him never love people like me. I was a test. I was a joke. Her chest heaved. She wanted to scream, to curse, to collapse into the cold pavement, but she had no strength left. Only disbelief and exhaustion. Lucas followed at a safe distance, watching Maya disappear into the crowd. He couldn't believe he'd fallen for Jade's trick, letting her put Maya in harm's way, even indirectly. His anger burned, not just at Jade, but at himself for not dealing with the problem as quickly as he ought. He couldn't fix Maya's feelings. He couldn't erase the humiliation, the betrayal, the fear. But he could protect her. He could make sure Jade didn't use her again. Jade had always been a gold digger, using her intelligence to work her way into his enterprise, but that had to stop. He had been so naive and trusting. It was only recently that he discovered that throughout the 2 years they had dated and the 4 years they had been business partners, Jade had been involved in countless company sabotage and selling of internal secrets. And the revelation had only worsened his trust issues. So, for the past 2 months, Lucas had been gathering evidence against Jade's misdeeds. Now was the time to hasten up the process and put an end to all the lies. With that, Lucas turned around, heading for his car as he dialed a number. By Monday, Maya was hollow. Her work suffered. Sabrina, sensing vulnerability, struck with precision. Project sabotaged, mockery amplified, rumors spread. Maya's position teetered. The emails piled in, warnings about missed deadlines, complaints from clients, HR inquiries. And through it all, Lucas remained absent. But he wasn't idle. Behind the glass towers of Arden Enterprises, he wrestled with himself. Noah, his assistant, watched him pace. "You've destroyed her trust," Noah said. "How are you going to fix it?" "I didn't destroy her," Lucas murmured, voice hoarse. "I was trying to protect her. From the truth. From the world. From me." "No one can protect someone by lying," Noah shot back. "You hurt the one person who actually saw you as human." Lucas stopped pacing. His reflection in the floor-to-ceiling window stared back at him. The wealthy, untouchable man everyone feared. The man Maya didn't know. The man who couldn't face his own mistakes. "I need to make this right," he said finally. "No money, no power. Just me." Meanwhile, Maya was at home that night, curled on her couch, staring at the ceiling. Her mother's gentle snore filled the small apartment. Lillian didn't understand the complexity of betrayal, but she felt Maya's despair, holding her daughter's hand unconsciously. Maya's mind replayed everything: the prank, Luke's kindness, the walks, the laughter, the secrets, and now the lies. Her heart ached, not for wealth, not for status, but for trust lost, for connection that had been ripped away. "I can't do this," she whispered to the empty room. "I can't trust anyone." Tears streamed freely now, not for Lucas, not for Jade, for herself, for the little girl who had always tried to be enough and never had been. And yet, somewhere deep, a flicker remained, a stubborn ember that refused to die completely. Maybe I can rebuild. Days later, Lucas returned, not in secrecy, not in disguise. He approached the office, deliberately low-key, but every pair of eyes followed him. He asked for Maya, ignoring whispers, ignoring stares. When she appeared in the hallway, his breath caught. "Maya," he said softly, "can we talk? Just me and you." Her arms crossed, jaw tight. "There's nothing to talk about. You lied. You used me. You broke every rule of trust." "I know," he said calmly, "and I deserve every ounce of anger you have. I can't take back the past, but I can show you the truth. The real me. No games, no tests. I swear it." Maya's gaze flicked to the floor, jaw clenching. "How do I know this isn't another trick?" He took a step closer, hands open, vulnerable. "Because I have nothing to hide now. Nothing except myself. I will not lie to you again." Her chest tightened. The air felt too heavy. Could she believe him? Could she allow herself to risk heartbreak once more? The days that followed were painstaking. Lucas approached carefully, respecting boundaries. He called HR to address the prank incident, ensuring Sabrina faced repercussions. Maya watched, astonished. This wasn't charm. This wasn't wealth. This was accountability, and it spoke louder than words ever could. She started journaling at home, writing out the pain, the betrayal, the fear, and the small moments of hope. Each word she wrote built her back piece by piece. The confidence she once faked began to grow organically, rooted in self-respect, not pretense. At work, when Sabrina tried her usual cruelty, Maya stood firm. HR intervened decisively, reprimanding Sabrina and her clique. The tables had turned, not through manipulation, but through courage, persistence, and truth. Lucas continued to show up quietly, not with gifts or displays of wealth, but with consistency. He listened without judgment, supported without interference, and stayed present without trying to impress. Slowly, Maya's walls began to crack, not fully but enough to let trust seep through. One afternoon, she found him waiting at Crescent Park. No disguise, just Lucas. No cameras, no test, just himself. "I'm sorry," he said simply.
For everything. For hiding. For testing. For hurting you. Maya exhaled slowly, feeling the weight of months lift slightly. I needed to believe in someone again, and you made that complicated. He nodded. I know. I'll spend the rest of my life trying to make it up to you, but I'm not asking for forgiveness right away. I just want a chance to be honest with you. From now on. Tears welled in her eyes. Not from betrayal, not from anger, but from relief. From the first taste of safety she'd had in months. She nodded, tentative but hopeful. Okay, we start over. Honestly. And
somewhere, deep within, she allowed herself to hope that maybe, just maybe, someone could stay. Maya spent the next week cautiously reclaiming her life. She began journaling every morning, scribbling out every fear, every insecurity, every lingering doubt. The act wasn't glamorous, and it wasn't fast, but it was hers, something no one could take away. At work, she noticed subtle shifts. The prank video had sparked outrage at higher levels. HR conducted thorough investigations. Sabrina was called in, reprimanded, and placed on probation. The office clique avoided her desk like a minefield. For the first time, Maya didn't need to perform confidence. Her calm certainty was enough. She walked past the whispers with shoulders squared. She no longer needed validation from anyone but herself. Lucas, meanwhile, remained patient. He didn't rush her or demand immediate reconciliation. He simply showed up, day after day, proving that his words weren't empty. One evening, he met her at Crescent Park again. The city lights shimmered in the river, reflecting their cautious hope. He held nothing, no wealth, no status symbols, only himself. I wanted to come sooner, he said, voice soft. But I wanted to make sure you weren't stepping back
for me, but moving forward for yourself. Maya studied him, noting the vulnerability in his posture, the honesty in his gaze. You've changed, she whispered. Not your status, you, the way you show up. Lucas smiled, a slow, genuine curve of lips. I've had to. I don't want to lose you again. Not to fear, not to silence, not to myself. She took a deep breath. I'm not the same girl either. I've learned I don't have to hide. I don't have to perform to survive. He nodded, relief washing over him. And you deserve more than surviving. She smiled faintly. I deserve real love, honest love, not tests or tricks. I promise, he said, voice steady. I'll give that to you. Only truth. Only me. And with that, they began rebuilding, not on fantasy or wealth, but on trust, respect, and authenticity. Work became a place of triumph instead of dread. Maya's previously sabotaged project finally launched successfully. Her attention to detail, creativity, and leadership didn't go unnoticed. By mid-month, she received a promotion, one she had earned, not given, and one that reaffirmed her belief in her own worth. At home, she finally secured her mother's care. The facility accepted her payments, and arrangements were made to ensure Lillian's comfort and dignity. Maya often found herself sitting beside her mother's bedside, holding her hand and speaking softly, laughing as her mother tried to remember past memories. Lucas accompanied her sometimes, not out of obligation, but because he wanted to witness her strength firsthand, not as a patron, but as a partner. He learned the delicate rhythms of her world, the challenges of caregiving, the quiet victories, the moments of despair. One afternoon, as they walked through the park.
Near the care facility, Maya's hand brushed against his. She looked up, eyes meeting his, and she saw neither wealth nor pretense, only the man who had waited patiently for her trust. I've never felt like this before, she admitted, voice barely above a whisper. Like someone sees all of me, flaws and all, and doesn't walk away. Lucas squeezed her hand. Because I'm not walking away. I won't, and I'm not here to fix you. I'm here to be with you. as equals. No tests, no games. Just us. Her heart swelled with warmth. The loneliness that had once gnawed at her had receded, replaced by something steady and enduring. The healing wasn't instantaneous. There were still moments when memories of betrayal surfaced. Small pangs of fear, hesitations, shadows of past insecurities. But they faced them together, openly, without pretenses. Maya confronted her own self-doubt, realizing that being honest with herself mattered more than appearing flawless to others. Lucas confronted his trauma and learned vulnerability wasn't weakness. It was connection. One evening, as the sun dipped below the Crescent City skyline, Lucas led Maya to a quiet rooftop garden. The city lights twinkled below, distant and sparkling like their past struggles. He held her hands gently, gazing into her eyes. "Maya Holloway," he said softly, "I have no riches to offer you that you can't already earn yourself. I have no grand gestures, no castles, only honesty, respect, and a promise to stand by you." Tears welled in her eyes. "And I only want honesty. Only someone who sees me, really sees me." He smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Then let's start from here, together, truly." She nodded, feeling a profound sense of peace she had never known. They embraced, not as a billionaire and a marketing analyst, but as two equals who had survived betrayal, shame, and fear, and had found each other anyway. Back at work, Maya walked confidently through the office. Her promotion now official, her colleagues respected her without derision. Even Sabrina, humbled by HR's intervention, avoided conflict. Maya no longer felt the need to perform fake confidence. The calm certainty she carried was enough. Her mother thrived under her care. Lillian laughed more often, her moments of clarity more frequent, and she always greeted Lucas with a warm, inquisitive gaze that recognized him not as a stranger, but as someone who belonged in their world. Lucas's life, too, had shifted. He no longer hid behind status or money. His wealth remained, but it no longer defined his identity. He had learned that true connection, honesty, and vulnerability were far more valuable than any empire. Together, they navigated both worlds, her caregiving responsibilities, his business empire, with grace and mutual support. Their bond deepened, no longer tested by secrets or deceit, but strengthened by truth, respect, and shared resilience. Weeks later, in a small, intimate moment, Lucas and Maya returned to Crescent Park, the place where they first truly connected. No cameras, no audience, just them. He reached into his pocket, not for a gift, but for a simple ring, a symbol of commitment, humility, and sincerity. "Maya," he said, voice trembling slightly, "I want to continue choosing you every day. Not because of what I have, but because of who you are. Will you be my partner, fully, honestly, and as equals?" Tears glistened in her eyes, her heart racing. She smiled through her emotions. "Yes, I want that too. No pretenses, just us." They embraced, the city lights casting a soft glow around them. The past, the humiliation, the lies, the betrayals, was present only as a memory, a reminder of what they had survived. And as they held each other, the narrative of their lives shifted. Love was no longer a test or a performance. It was a choice, a quiet, deliberate, and unwavering choice. Maya and Lucas's journey became a testament to authenticity, resilience, and compassion. She had learned to value her own worth. He had learned to trust beyond fear. Together they redefined love, not as a game of power or deception, but as a partnership rooted in respect, truth, and equality. The Crescent City skyline shimmered around them, indifferent yet beautiful. But for the first time, Maya didn't feel invisible. She felt seen, and Lucas felt the same. Their story didn't need grandeur or spectacle. It needed only honesty, courage, and patience. And in the quiet intimacy of understanding, they had everything. The city continued its rush below,
unaware of the lives quietly transformed above. But for Maya and Lucas, everything had changed. And in that moment, both knew the truth. Love, when built on authenticity and compassion, could endure anything, even betrayal, humiliation, or fear. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe for more.
Captivating storytelling. Drop a comment below sharing which character you related to most, and like if you believe in love built on honesty, not status. See you in the next story.